I want to show this map and explain about what did Iran ever do to us. Right now, the concerns and the reason price is skyrocketing is because the Strait of Hormuz is under threat by Iran. And you've got these Gulf states, you got Bahrain, Qatar, the Emirates, you've even got Oman and the Saudis, and there's a lot of oil here. 20% of oil and natural gas they want to get out to the rest of the world to do business with. You are allowed to sell stuff. That's what they're doing. So Iran right here, the whole time has basically been saying, we will blow you up unless we get what we want. At a certain point, everybody's just like, dude, these a-holes need to be stopped. I am not advocating for anything that we did in Iran because my concerns are instability in the region, and that could screw the whole thing up even more. My point is only to say that when you have a bunch of different countries that sell 20% of natural gas and oil to the rest of the world, and they're constantly under threat of being blown up by Iran unless we give Iran free stuff like pallets of cash.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, you get an Obama who says, okay, Iran, what do you want? Just don't screw with the oil trade. And so he gives them a bunch of money. Then you get a Trump who says, I'll just kill you. And they're like, well, we can make nukes. He goes, then I'll kill you faster. So you pick your leader, right? One leader is going to try and bribe them and pay them off. Doesn't seem to work. They keep blowing up our people. They keep threatening the strait and oil trade, among other things. And then you get Trump. And I got to be honest, Trump's the kind of guy who's going to press the button. So it is what it is. Right now, we've been seeing reports that ships have been turning off their transponders and moving through the Strait of Hormuz and then turning them back on to try and get past Iranian missile strikes. That's insane. Look, if whatever the issue is, I'll put it like this. Call the United States bad for whatever it does in Afghanistan and Iraq, fine. Call Iran bad. There are other countries involved that are pissed off that Iran is shutting down the strait. And more importantly, when the strikes happened, Iran started bombing Bahrain, Qatar, and the Emirates and these other countries who did not engage in hostilities against them.
They housed American military bases, I think, was their justification.
That may be for some, but why bomb a hotel?
Oh, it's terrible.
Again, therein lies the problem. If they bombed the military bases, which they did, you'd say, oh, wow, this is war. When they start striking hotels and apartment buildings, you're like, what they're trying to do is get the people. This is what terror is. They want the people in these countries to get angry that they are being targeted in the war so that they go to their government and put pressure on the government so that the government goes easier on Iran.
Yeah, and I think all those governments knew that because they immediately were like, all right, we're declaring war on Iran. Like, you fired a missile into our sovereign territory.
Like I said earlier, Iran's been a thorn in the side of multiple countries, not just the U.S., not just Israel. Like, the entire Middle East is basically worried about what Iran's going to do. They're the only
biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world.
They're the only Shiite Muslim country in the area. Everybody else is Sunni, so they're at odds in that aspect. So I mean, look, they're not friendly with most of the countries that are that we mentioned so far.
And they're you're speaking about government because the people are mostly. I don't even think the majority of the population is Muslim in Iran. Someone was telling me stats earlier. They were saying. Is it a literal majority?
Well,
over 51%?
Oh, yeah.
The government is.
It's the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the government. But the people themselves are like, they were free,
well, they were almost 79. Secular. They were fairly secular for a good amount of time. Like, if you look back at pictures of, Iranian...
99%.
Like colleges in like 50s, 60s.
Dan Holloway was telling me it's that they're Persian first. Most of them are Persian first and Muslim second.
Their religion is Islam, but they're generally secular Muslims. They're not particularly religious.
So I'm kind of dancing around this question, which I was going to ask you before Tim asked me to remember it, is you said we got to do this and we need to protect American lives at all cost. But like that can get very broad, at all cost metaphor, because would you incinerate 1 million Iranian civilians?
Because I think you're kind of mistaking what I was saying. I was saying if we have to do this, let's do it quickly to the least amount of American lives. If it was up to me, like if I had a vote right now, based on the information that I have, which granted is less than they have, not sure if that changes anything, I would vote no. If I was asked if we were going to declare war in Iran, if we would go in ground invasion or like declare an official war, I would vote no. I think we've... I'm typically an anti-war hawk kind of guy, not the way I'm going to do it. However, I feel like my policy on it is very much to make a weird analogy. It's like the Bill Burr bit about like, no reason. It's like, well, okay, should we do it? No, but no reason?
Yeah.
It's like, I think I'm more irritated by the arguments against it where they're saying, well, these are just poor. They've never done anything to us. I'm like, well, All right. Well, I'll get to you in a minute. That was retarded.
Yeah.
It's a rock and a hard place, because the issue is, and I think, I like to bring this up, it's not just the Strait of Hormuz. It's also that Iran's been funding the Houthi rebels in Yemen, who have been bombing the Red Sea. Down here, where the ships are trying to come on in to the Red Sea, where they head up through the Suez, get to the Mediterranean, Iran has basically been disrupting a massive amount of global trade, and Obama tried bribing them.
Yep.
If we give them some money and tell them to chill out, but they have not chilled out. Attacking us in Iraq, I get. The United States should not have been in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I got to be honest, I think the point of going to Iraq and Afghanistan was largely to stage a pincer strike around Iran. We've got military bases all along the edges. But Iran has been, look, at any point, if Iran was like, no, we're not going to interfere with global trade, no one cares about Iran anymore.
Yep.
So for that matter, if we zoom over here, I'll tell you all about Trump's interests. So here we have Nicaragua. China was trying to build the Nicaraguan Canal. They wanted to build it straight through here, and it would have disrupted, I believe it was whatever this is, Lake Coquibolca, is that what it is? Or it might have actually been up here. But they wanted to build a canal that would compete with the Panama Canal. And this was some 10 years ago. They ultimately abandoned the project after it just cost an insane amount of money. The reason why Trump wanted Panama back, the reason why Trump wants control of the Strait of Hormuz, he wants Iran shut down, basically. The reason he wants Greenland, it's all about controlling international waterways for trade, for oil. The United States tells the world one thing. You will use the U.S. dollar for all oil purchases, which means our economy is going to be great no matter what, because you got to use our money to buy oil, which means you got to come to us first. However, they say, in exchange, you will be able to freely trade around the world without someone blowing you up. We'll go after the pirates. We will police the seas. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying this is the mechanism of the United States and why we have a strong economy, despite not producing as much as other countries do relatively. We have the petrodollar system. So when you get countries complaining, we can't ship goods to the Red Sea anymore because of the Houthi rebels, Trump goes to Iran and says, are you going to stop arming these guys who are blowing up civilian transport? And they go, maybe, give us money. And Trump says, no, I'll kill you. When they threaten the Strait of Hormuz, Trump's not playing a game like Obama says, no, I'll kill you. Now, if you're not a fan of the Team America World Police stuff, that opinion was always allowed. I am not telling you should support any of this. I am telling you this is the mechanism by which all of this is happening, the reason why they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's pretty clear that America lives, or the living standard that Americans have is because of the petrodollar. And if we were to change that system, it would be a massive change in the living standard of all Americans. And as much as people will say, oh, I don't want to see the U.S. to be the world police, as long as the U.S. is the world police, we should continue to do things that will try to keep the U.S. living standard as high as possible. Because you think that poverty is bad in other countries. If the petrodollar goes away, you're going to see a significant decrease in living standard. That means the poor are the ones that are going to be hurt the most here in the U.S.
And I got to give a shout out to my boy Nick, the fat electrician, real quick, because he had a very good video breaking down the history of why America went after Greenland, and just the long storied history since just after, I believe, the Civil War, attempting to purchase the Greenland territory and the reasons that we had interest there, especially with the strike capabilities later on, and decreasing our strike time to places like Russia and everywhere else, and just having that ability. Because I think we came to an agreement after the end of World War II, because during World War II, obviously, they were overtaken, and we had placed American bases in Greenland itself, and so
I just think that the United States is the nexus of good and morality, has never done anything wrong. And for that matter, if the U.S. does it, it is good. It's the definition.
It's magic.
I have a bit more of a nuanced take. I do think that the liberal economic order that is overseeing this, collusive global takeover is the least worst global order we've ever seen in human history. It's been 80 years of no world war, limited, the internet, the amount of food people are
child sex trafficking,
there hasn't been a famine.
islands.
There hasn't been a famine in like 80 years. I don't think there's been a famine in like 150 years in the United States, if that, maybe even more ever in the United States. So it's pretty impressive. Like if we can stabilize and develop our drone delivery systems so that we can spread resources out, I think this system could work.
Well, so I was having this conversation the other day because I'm like, look, is America perfect? No, absolutely not. Nobody ever has been. But I think that right now the United States, as it stands, in possibly the history of humanity, has the most power, like the most might to good ratio.
Yeah.
Like to freedom of its individual citizens, to how little we leverage it against the world for nefarious purposes. I think this is probably, again, the most power to good ratio that has ever existed on planet Earth.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, if you put the kind of military might that the U.S. has in the hands of, I don't know, the Huns, I think that there would have been a significant difference.
I have a question. I brought this up this morning. It was a hypothetical on Reddit. They have these hypothetical scenarios they ask, and then you comment. And it is this. The question is for you, Mr. Herrera. You wake up one day with all the powers of Superman. You are super strong. You can fly. You can shoot lasers and breathe cold for whatever reason, and all that good stuff. However, once per year, a random person on Earth, could be in any country anywhere, will also get these powers. You are informed a full year in advance who that person will be. And the only way to stop them from getting the powers is to kill them before they do. What do you do?
Does that stop it from going to a random different person after that? Or once per year?
So the idea is, on January 1st, a random person in the world will get these powers as well. You always know who it's going to be. After that person dies, the next January 1st, there will be one more person. So it's one person per year.
Got it.
And the hypothetical scenario is, will you kill them to prevent them from getting Superman powers as Superman?
Do you also have those powers while they have them?
Yes. So people will just start popping up and getting them all over the world if you do nothing.
I don't like that. That's a very, very rough moral question. Because I mean, the mathematical answer to that is, at some point, somebody's going to have those powers and use it to kill thousands of people. So it's like all this is like a Reddit version of the trolley problem.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
It is an interesting question as it pertains to war and superpowers, because you look at it from the perspective of not Superman, but you're a global, world-dominating, hegemonic power. You know another country is rapidly gaining power.
Yeah.
You can blow them up right now to prevent them from doing it. However, if you don't, they will rival you then, and now there will be... That's essentially what the scenario is meant to be. The challenge with the Superman question is that what if it's an Islamic extremist? And now he's immortal, invincible, and he's going to start massacring not thousands, but millions of people. And you can't stop him because you only match him. You'll be locked in a fight endlessly, and the collateral damage will probably still make the millions. And so the ultimate question is, I feel like this is a question to try and explain geopolitics at a grand scale to children, a.k.a. Redditors, adult men who have the mentality of children.
The Funko Pop breed.
Yeah, indeed.
It would be a good plot for a supervillain.
Oh, bro, Ian would just he would be like, I'll kill him.
And they're like, why are you doing this? And it's like, you don't understand, I have to. And they're like, he's psychotic, he's lost his mind. Like, I'm saving the world, you have to believe me.
You're Superman, meaning you're super speed. So it's 2 a.m, whatever country they're in. You flash into their room, laser beam into their eyes, and then flash out. And then people come in the morning, and the person's just dead.
When you're Superman, you don't have to explain yourself.
Yeah.
I would try. But then at the end of my life as Superman, they'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, it was all a lie. They were all going to be just normal people.
Well, now you're changing the...
You just went around killing people.
You're ruining the plot twist of your own movie.
I should do that in the movie. Yeah,
No, actually, that is a great plot twist where the guy tells people, you don't understand, if I don't do this, they will develop powers, and then we will have superpowered terrorists. You can't control them.
They're 3 weeks away from Superman powers.
Yeah, and then finally on his deathbed, he's like, I made it all up. I just wanted to kill somebody. Just liked killing.
He's
got to get out of my system.
He's 3 weeks away. Okay, let's do it. That's a funny movie.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.